Whoa!
Hi!
Welcome back to a brand new episode of The Doorman. We are your facilitators / guides. My name is Evangelist.
Steven in the building.
As always. Well, you know what? We've been kind of torn about what the hell we should be talking about, right? I mean, there's so much kind of BS out there.
There is a lot of bullshit
to be jumping on, right? So, earlier this week, or I want to say yesterday?
Yeah.
A couple of days ago?
A couple of days ago.
Steven suggested, hey, you know what? Why don't we talk about all this victimhood? And this idea of the popular thing right now is to be a victim.
All these pussies around the world.
Right. I mean, and it's like, oh well, these people act out in these crazy ways because of this.
Right.
Or these people are failing at life because of that.
Mm-hmm.
Or these people are, it's always something's happening to me, or whoever these people are, out of their own control.
Right.
And then, so I thought, man, do we just want to continue to pounce on these, I don't know, just these weak
excuses.
And
really, it is. It's just an excuse.
And the trendy and the trends that
it's like a loophole. It's like you can commit a crime and just immediately be, I was temporarily insane. What the fuck does that even mean? I never understood that.
I don't understand it. So I thought, okay, why don't we kind of like pinpoint our theories of what brings this stuff about?
Sure.
Right? So my theory, and you can, we can open up on a theory that you have on it. My theory is that victimhood, all of these byproducts, right? Like anxiety, depression, all of these things are absolutely real concepts. Even victimhood, it's a real concept. But what I want to pounce on is the idea that aimlessness or the lack of fortitude to get to these targets are what bring these things about.
Right.
Right. Mm-hmm. So if let's say people aren't aimless. Let's say that they're focused on a destination, on an outcome, and at any point from point A to point B, they're distracted or they're somehow miss the target. All of a sudden, that loss of an aim, it brings about that victimhood. Oh man, I missed the mark because of this.
It's somebody else's fault.
It's someone else's
something
doing.
happened that got in the way, a speed bump, or this little thing called life got in the way.
Right.
Like you don't always get what you want.
Right.
You don't always get what you think you deserve. You get what you get when you get it, right? You work your ass off, you get a reward. You don't work your ass off, you're begging for change on the corner.
I mean, and that's basically where it all like lies, right? So if you don't follow through and cross over these obstacles, if you don't jump over the hurdles, if you don't fight through these difficulties that you could possibly run into, then you're going to miss the mark.
Right.
And the missing the mark, you can do whatever you like with that idea that you've missed the mark. But placing the blame anywhere else, but accepting the responsibility is
foolish.
It's foolish, but that's what we're getting at. That's what we're trying to cast the spotlight on.
Right.
Like we have to gain, or we have to take the responsibility. We have to become accountable for these misses. We have to make adjustments. So what Steve and I have what we've always promoted is the idea that our realities, it comes with a specific sequence of events, and it begins with our thoughts. Thoughts turns into the words that we speak. The words that we speak turn into the actions that we take. And then the actions that we take finally lead to the reality. So this is the sequence that happens. You got to follow it from the thought to the reality.
Right.
And if at any point it misses, then you have to take the responsibility, go back to that same sequencing, and make your necessary adjustments. That's what it's all is.
At the risk of sounding like an inspirational quote on Instagram or TikTok or even Dr. Phil.
Let's put our Dr. Phil.
When life knocks you down, pick yourself up by the bootstraps, dust yourself off, and get back to work.
You know what they say? They say that's a conservative outlook. That's a conservative.
Because I said bootstraps.
Bootstraps. Pick yourself up by your bootstraps.
Pick yourself up by your Crocs.
Okay.
Or your sandals.
Flip-flops.
Or your mother's boots, whatever the fuck you're wearing. Basically, just move past it. Move on. Move forward.
Get up and get going.
Yeah.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that's pretty much what it's about. So we can, we can take any headline that's currently in the, out there, and then we could apply this idea to it, and then it fixes the entire situation. Right? It makes whatever negative, negative attachment null and void.
Right.
But that's if anyone out there has any question as to what's happening, what's going on, it begins with you, the individual, and it works from within to the areas without, right? You can frame it, you can any which way you like, but if you don't take that into consideration, then we're looking in the wrong places.
To tell you, you're very, very close to copywriting some Buddhist words.
Look, these ideas aren't new. They're not mine. These are
They've been around.
Ancient concepts. Right?
That's weird.
I mean,
they've been around and used in the past, and nobody had a problem with it. Now there's an issue.
Every religion at some point touches on these concepts.
Right.
I just happen to have been programmed. My early programming involved the religion of Christianity, organized Christianity, and these were the things that were taught to me as a child.
I have a sidebar question.
Sure.
When people say organized Christianity, what's unorganized Christianity?
I mean, so the idea that there's a divine being, we were created by a divine being. You don't necessarily have to attend a church to honor that idea. So when you have a church where there's a designated pastor or a designated speaker of these concepts, pastor, priest,
everyone's.
That the church building, the congregation, all organized religion.
Right.
You as an individual don't have to go to these things in order to understand that there is a God. You were created. Right? You could honor these ideas on your own. You could wake up every day and say, Lord, or whatever it is you like to call the divine. I call him Heavenly Father, Father God, whatever it is you like to address him as.
Jesus.
And then you go ahead and you honor his place in it, as well as recognizing your own place in this thing. And that is an unorganized way of looking at it.
All right.
So that brings me peace.
Okay.
Right? So what credential do I have to sit here and speak? This peace of mind that I have.
Right.
Right? Like nothing in this world, in my mind, can bother me, can displace me, can take me away from my peace of mind. Because I've honored this relationship. I was created by this divine being,
right? The
all-knowing, omnipotent, omnipresent being. I'm his product. I was put here for some reason, some purpose. It is my job to realize this purpose. And then, so that's what brings me this peace. That's where I'm able to get these thoughts from.
Okay.
And then translate it to whoever's listening. So, not that I'm better than anyone. Anyone can do this, right? We all have a purpose. You have a purpose.
Not as good as us.
Not as good as us. Everyone has their purpose. Everyone just needs to find out what that purpose is.
Right.
They have a place in this earth. They just need to find out the exact place.
So are you saying for people out there that maybe a little lost,
Mm-hmm.
stepped away from the flock,
Yes.
need to find their way without blaming others,
Absolutely.
without finding an excuse as to why they aren't where they think they should be.
Absolutely.
Because for the longest time, I blamed a certain individual for me not joining the military. But then you wake up one day and you're like, well, you know what? She didn't really stop me.
Right.
It was my decision not to go back. It was my decision not to proceed further with that particular stage of my life. So, you take your responsibility, you get the egg on your face, whatever the case may be, and you move on. Because maybe you were supposed to be in that situation. Maybe what you think that you're where you're supposed to be is not where you're supposed to be. But it's not anybody else's fault that you're not somewhere else.
Mm-hmm.
It's not somebody else's fault that you can't swim with the men. So then you just decide to jump on the latest thing, and now you're a female, and
Now you're competing against
now you're
females.
number one in the fucking world.
Oh, shit.
I
Oh, shit.
don't know.
I don't know.
I don't know if that happened. I was just giving you like a hypothetical situation.
Right.
But
right.
people need to stop focusing on what's
Think-
wrong with their lives.
How about think of the idea? What about casting spotlight on the idea that this person had a purpose
Mhm.
to bring to people's attention the difference between men and women, right? This person who identifies as a woman, whether directly or indirectly,
Mhm.
has given people reason to say, hey, men and women are absolutely different. Gender, biological gender makes an absolute difference.
Sure.
Right?
Well,
What
again,
if this is their purpose?
yeah, maybe.
Whether
But
they
it's not.
understand it or
It's not the first one though.
Sure.
If this was the very first case of this, I'm sure it'd be a completely different. But it's just like they're coming out of the woodwork now.
Right.
It's like there's guys that want to be on the female cycling team in another country. There's guys that want to.
Is that true?
Yeah, 100%.
Wow.
And the women are like, nah,
Right.
bro.
Right. I mean, okay.
But again, this brings out the. I don't want to. I don't want to downplay it or offend people, but fuck it, here we go. When you have everybody jumping on whatever the newest thing is, it downplays the people who legitimately feel that way.
Okay.
When you have people, well, they did it, so then I'll just try this other sport. I mean, it's swimming, it's weightlifting, it's the Olympics, it's running, it's bicycling, it's whatever else is next. I mean, at some point, there's going to be. I can't imagine what the next, because it seems to be a step up game, right? Like,
Sure.
I'm going to step up this, I'm going to do that, I'm going to do that, I'm going to do this. But then people who legitimately feel that they identify as a woman, they look like you, but they feel like a woman, which blows my fucking mind. If you legitimately felt that way, then all these other people who are doing it, like taking almost making like a circus of the whole situation, I feel downplay the severity of the situation.
Yeah, I mean, again, we can frame it any which way we like, depending on what we're after, right? I've always said that there's people actually live life, and then there's the people who narrate.
Yeah.
What that living looked like to them, right? So what is it about to these for these people, for people who identify as a woman, who are biologically male, and then they compete against other women? What is it about? Is it attention? Is it a true need to glorify their own abilities versus other women? Is it, I mean, do they really need the validation of competing against women as opposed to men? What is it? So we can frame it any which way we like, right? But there's so many different questions to be answered. At the end of the day, their accomplishment or their event or their doing this stuff does it really mean anything? Right? It's the people who need the narrative, whatever that narrative is going to be. Right? Whatever the story is, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's the people who need that story and the solution, resolution, the closure. You know, it's to these people who make the difference. That person, for that person, it's over. They're dealing with the consequence. Like even the winner of that swim meet, right? That for that person, it's over. So whatever it is they gained from it, or whatever it is that they didn't gain from it, it's final. It's over.
Right.
The speak of it, the story about it, that's what other people are investing.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Like when I say people who are coming out of the woodwork, it's always like, okay, that person's 15 minutes of fame are over.
Mm-hmm.
It's my turn.
Right.
So now I'm gonna go be a male that rides bicycles on the whatever country's national cycling team for the females.
So we could say that these people are after some type of attention.
Sure.
That could be something that, but here's the point I'm trying to make. It's our folly that is providing that attention.
Right.
Right? It's our need for resolution.
Sure.
Right? We're searching for the answers.
Right.
Like, why is this person doing that? Why is that person doing that?
Yeah.
That's our own.
But also too though, like in that situation, like if somebody, again, legitimately feels that way, and they're hesitant to let people know, why in the world would you do it on a national stage like the news or a sporting event?
Let me ask you a question. Let's say these people, or that person who you mentioned about the women's cycling, it's a biological male is needing to compete. Let's say after that event is over, they realized that it didn't bring them fulfillment.
Mm-hmm.
They fall into a deep depression, commit suicide.
Mm-hmm.
What then?
Well,
what then does?
And for the sake of this argument, I'm glad you brought that up, because that's my next point.
Mm-hmm.
Is that if it doesn't pan out how they want it to,
mm-hmm.
it's very easy to play the victim in that situation and say it was a mental disorder I had, or I was temporarily insane, or I was on medication for depression or whatever that was messing with my head that made me make these decisions. I know I have balls, and I'm still a man. It's very easy to backtrack from that situation.
Okay. But let's say all of these things, all of these conclusions that we draw about it are true. Then what? What does that make us? What does that make you and I? Like, let's say we spoke on this to just endlessly, and then we were considered correct about all of our assumptions that we make about these individuals. What then? What good have we brought to the situation? Are we forewarning people in the future who are thinking about?
I guess none. We're not any sort of psychics by any means. We're not any sort of fortune tellers.
Are we doing the future of humanity any?
Well,
good?
I mean,
saying,
maybe
damn it, we told you so.
Maybe what we're doing is speaking about it.
Okay.
In not a necessarily accepting tone.
Okay.
And maybe somebody hears it and tells their friends, and then they tell their friends, and before you know it, it's like, hey, wait a minute, feel how you feel. We're not telling you don't feel what you feel, but if you have to do it on a national stage or a worldwide stage, you're doing it for the wrong reasons. Because forever and a day, the internet is forever, right?
Right.
That those pictures, those news clips, those pictures of you standing in the first place booth of the swim meet are forever going to be around. You will never outrun that, right? So it's going to be around. So you're either in it for the long haul, you're in it for the attention, or you're just a dumbass. It's just like forever and a day. No matter what Chris Rock did before, he's going to be the guy that got slapped.
Right.
So
you know what, Steve? And I'm glad this panned out in the fashion that it did. because this is what you and I promote. We promote speaking, verbalizing, the oration of these thoughts. And then once these thoughts are spoken, we can all come to some type of resolution as to what's going to be acceptable in the future.
Right.
Right? As to what's going to bring us definition.
Mm-hmm.
What's going to bring us peace in the end.
Well, I think people too are so shell shocked to speak their mind nowadays because of the narratives in this world, because of the risk of you might hurt somebody's feelings. You know, growing up, people weren't always necessarily the most delicate with us.
No.
But you know what? You just took it.
Yeah, absolutely.
You just took it.
I come from a family where the pride was in the idea that you could dish the criticism.
Right.
And you'd be able to take it and then turn it into something progressive. And not progressive in the sense of these leftist policies. I mean,
right.
Progressive, productive, meaning you move from point A to some space closer to point B.
Right.
Right.
Well, again, I think that's just the, unfortunately now, it's the narrative that everybody's included. You don't have to have the background. You don't have to have the knowledge.
Right.
If you're the right color, gender, height, hair color, eye color, balls, no balls, you're gonna get whatever position is there because that's what needs to fill that position.
Right.
And it's a long-term detriment to society, putting people in charge of certain aspects of governmental control because they fit a narrative.
Right.
It's bad. It's bad.
Look,
so bad.
Look at today's administration.
Yeah.
Right. A good majority of people couldn't handle the previous administration and the audacity, the certain narcissistic characteristics,
the brashness, the abrupt nature,
right. The anti-PC is what we'll call it. But they couldn't handle it, right? As good as the decisions were that he made for our country,
right.
There was many people, citizens of this beautiful country, that couldn't handle his character.
Right.
So they turned on the machine. They turned on the machine, and this machine basically was able to remove him from the position.
Well, that's the ultimate victimhood, right? I mean, you.
But look who we have now.
Yeah.
Look what situation we are in now.
Mm-hmm.
So many of the disastrous events of the last 18 months plus
mm-hmm.
have come at the leadership, have come as a result of the leadership that this new administration is providing or
right.
hasn't provided. And it's all because of the brash nature.
Victimhood. That's all it was. People didn't like being bullied or have their
right.
feelings hurt
or
read a
themselves
mean
weren't
tweet.
bullied.
Or read a mean
right.
tweet.
Right. They themselves weren't bullied, but
right.
they read about this bully.
Right.
This narcissist
right.
of a bully.
Mm-hmm.
And they were like, oh my God, we have to turn on the machine.
I mean,
media's got to color him in a certain
even
way.
look at after he was out. They
Yeah.
still try to blame him to this day for shit that's going wrong.
Right.
And it's just like any chance they get to like rip the Band-Aid off the wound
mm-hmm.
and have the people of America who were offended and had their feelings hurt over the orange guy to like reopen the wound and have to heal it all over again. They do not miss a beat when they can do that. They never.
Our
ever,
question to you out there, who can identify, who can hear what we're saying. You didn't like the orange guy. You're wearing the hat. Didn't like the orange guy. Our question to you is, what is your aim? What are you targeting? What destination are you shooting for?
Right.
Because if you don't have a destination, if you don't have some place that you're looking to move towards with these decisions, with these, what is it about? Because we have grown to understand, we've learned, we've read about the forefathers and that destination, a more perfect union, right? And we know where that is going. We know there were remnants of it, right, in the decades that during our upbringing. Was there evil done on behalf of individuals who have claimed authority in this country? Yeah, absolutely.
Well, there's never been a clean president.
Never been a clean administration.
Well, I mean, maybe you could
Right.
argue the first one.
Maybe
Because it was brand new and there was no way. But even then, I mean, you know, it's difficult to pinpoint when it started to go south.
Right.
But at some point, somebody had a selfish reason for doing what they did, and now it's trickled down to where we are now, where maybe a certain country was like, hey, we paid so and so this for us to have 50 years of this, and unfortunately you carry that tab now. So
what we like to point out, though, is that through the history of this country, in each administration, at these different times, in these different eras, there were traces of this more perfect union. What were some of the traces that we can bring up? Well, one thing that we always bring to light is the idea that our poorest of the poor in our society have access to resources that people in third world countries,
our poor would be poor in other countries.
Absolutely. Our poor would be pretty well off,
right,
in other countries. We have to like really cast light onto that, cast a spotlight onto it, and say, hey, that is something that should be celebrated. That was brought on by the ideas of our forefathers, and these are the things that we should keep, things that allowed that to happen, right? Instead of trying to destroy the entire thing, you're trying to throw the baby out with the bathwater. And it's the worst. It's probably the worst thing we can do, because what alternative is coming up? I don't see any alternative policies that people are suggesting that would, right? It's just all talk and rhetoric. Oh, we've got to include everyone's opinion. We've got to, hear everyone's voice. Well, what are they saying? What alternatives have they constructed? And why haven't we seen a list of things that would point to the direction that we're headed toward? These are all the questions that we have.
Well, you got to look at like Florida, right? Florida's trying to right the ship little by little, and maybe not in the most effective way.
By doing what, though?
But so they're,
what the forefathers suggested.
Exactly. Yeah.
Freedoms.
Right. So they have, what the people who oppose this bill call it the anti-gay bill.
Oh,
not one single
right.
mention of the word gay in that bill.
Right.
All it is just you don't want teachers teaching your kindergarten through 5th grade what transgender means.
Right.
They have no fucking business.
Where did we go from that point? Where did we go from the point that, hey, what you come to accept should come from your home, right? The things that you come to accept and learn about anything should come from your parents in your house.
Right.
These people are trying to say that, hey, educators know better to parent your children. They know how to parent your children better than you.
Right.
And that's an idea that we're all supposed to accept.
When did the
How
curriculum
ridiculous does that sound?
When did the curriculum become that? Because when I was in school, history class was the Lewis and Clark expedition.
Sure.
Now it's the first trans to walk. Who gives a fuck? What does that mean? Not
what does that mean?
Not
what does
taking
that mean
anything
to
away.
kids from K to 3rd grade?
Right. Nothing.
Nothing.
Maybe at the absolute.
I've heard ridiculous
It
arguments.
causes confusion.
I've heard ridiculous arguments like, hey, these kids may come into contact with other trans K through 3rd grade students, and they should know about them, or they should know how to be inclusive. Like, what?
Might come in contact with an alien. You're gonna teach them about aliens?
Right. I mean,
That's the thing. Where does it stop?
Right.
Where's the end game? Because at some point, somebody's gonna feel like a butterfly, and then we're all gonna have to accept butterflies.
We're all
Somebody's
gonna
gonna feel
call that guy a butterfly.
Yeah. So I mean, seriously,
son of
when
a
does it
bird.
stop? When is enough is my question. Because right now there's no end in sight.
I don't know, man.
Be a group of people thinking that they're fireflies, sticking a flashlight up their ass and running around the fucking city. We're supposed to accept them as fireflies.
See, what began at one point as tools, programs that were tools for growth, right, have become regulation, right? So they're trying to put out the idea that it should be a regulation that students between K through third grade, I'm talking about the opposition to this bill that they passed, that these teachers are some type of regulatory body in what kids need to be learning between K through third grade.
That's bullshit.
Right? And it's bullshit because whatever things are being learned by these kids from K through third grade should come from their parents or the people who have charge over them in the homes that they live.
I wonder what these people would think if it wasn't a school teaching it and if it was a church teaching this.
Wow.
I promise you there's a problem with it.
Sure. Yeah.
Because there'd be no way. You can't say the Pledge of Allegiance in the classroom, but a kindergartner can know what a transvestite is.
Right. And they could know that it's a possibility for them to transition from whatever gender they are.
Can't
to
say the Pledge of Allegiance, but you'll be able to name the drugs you're supposed to take to get rid of your balls. I don't fucking get it.
Or grow balls.
I don't get it.
Who knows? So we're addressing all of this aimlessness, right? Because the victimhood or the concept of victimhood comes from this aimlessness. Our forefathers drew up a contract, drew up some paperwork called the Constitution that aimed us in a specific direction, and there is a good many people who are trying to destroy that aim,
right?
Causing the victimhood.
Another weird, I guess, victimhood where they're trying to, I don't want to say downplay, but maybe excuse it a little bit as to why he did what he did, was, I heard this a while ago, years ago, that Hitler was the way he was because he was a failed artist, and the Jewish individual said his paintings were terrible. So he decided to just kill all the Jews because that one Jew said his painting was bad. Now,
is that true?
That's what I've heard. I heard that several different times. A lot of different theories about Hitler.
Check it out.
He was in the closet. He was a painter. He was this other bugging bullshit. He wanted to be a swimmer on the women's team. They wouldn't let him. So he then becomes this angry, bitter individual that goes on to kill 6 million Jewish people. Because now, when you say it out loud like that, when people hear it out loud, does it sound ridiculous?
Absolutely.
It sounds just absolutely stupendously stupid.
Idiotic.
Yeah.
Idiocracy.
And again, it's people trying to reach, man. You're trying to make people's shortcomings okay.
That's become the trend.
It's
become the absolute trend.
Because you have to be able to it's okay.
And again, our favorite folly in the participation award, that has to do with that exact concept. Oh man, we gotta excuse them for being losers. They get a trophy too. We can't blame them.
Yeah.
Well, they should have worked harder.
Well, they
should have made necessary adjustments.
When does it stop? Why don't you give participation trophies to everybody, all the way up to the majors? Because you know what, they tried too.
They tried.
Everyone
should get a Super Bowl trophy.
Yeah.
Everyone.
You know what? Scrap it. Let's just have fun for 16 games. Scrap the pads. Everybody wins.
See, all of these systems that have been put into place to remind us of the aim, right? Remind us there is a goal to be reached, right? And then you have to make necessary adjustments to hit that goal,
right?
To hit that mark, right?
Right.
We're trying to slowly tear it down, one event at a time. And what we have to do is see the folly in it, see the absolute mistakes that are being made.
Yeah.
Right? Mm-hmm. All of these things were put in place for a reason.
Yep.
Right? The bars were set high for a reason, to benefit us as individuals, to allow us to know that, hey, these are the feats that we have to reach in order to hit these bars,
right,
to hit these marks, right? But what's going on now, right? Oh man, we've got to excuse him. These guys aren't built to hit that mark. Well, we're not going to give them a trophy.
Right.
We're not going to reward.
You don't win. You know what happened to the team that lost?
They lost
in the Final Four or the national championship. They lost. They didn't get a fucking here's a second place trophy.
They went
hey,
home.
Thanks for showing up. They got their hearts broken. They got on a plane. They went back to North Carolina to start over next year.
And what did that force them to do, though? It forced them to train harder the very next year so that they can make it and win this time.
Right.
Right? It was a motivation for success.
Right. I mean,
it's what it should be.
It translates into sports too, right? Because other teams are like, oh, well, the Dodgers, the Yankees, they have huge payrolls. Yeah, because people want to be in California and New York. Nobody wants to be in fucking Cleveland or Pittsburgh.
Right.
Nobody wants to play baseball in Pittsburgh.
What should be done? I'm going to tell you what should be done. And this is just our opinions, right? But these cities who want bigger and better salary caps, they need to develop a bigger draw.
Right.
There needs to be something that draws people's attention to that specific city. Mm-hmm. So more entrepreneurs are going to go out. They're going to come up with these concepts, these ideas, these places, these businesses that would draw people's attention.
Right.
That's what should be done. That's what should be focused on. Mm-hmm. Right? Not the idea that, oh man, these cities are just down in the luck because they don't have those, draws, those attractions. Well, again, it's up to the people in those cities to develop those attractions.
I mean, you got to look at it, and there's so many sports teams in California.
Sure.
There's so many in New York. Not every team in New York and California is good. Right?
Angels.
Well, the Angels they're I think they're trying to transition. They can't figure themselves out. I mean, think about it. So the Lakers are a legacy, man. They have bad seasons every now and then. Lakers are a legacy. The Clippers are the Clippers. Redheaded stepchildren of Los Angeles. The Oakland A's, right? They can't get a fan base to continuously see their games. So guess where they're going to go now? They're moving to Vegas too, probably.
And not every soccer team can be like our Galaxies.
Yeah.
But yeah.
But again, the whole thing is that if you are a destination for the players, then the fans come. If you're not a destination for the players, then nobody wants to go watch Joe Schmo pitch. If you're going to go to a game in Pittsburgh, and I hate to shit on Pittsburgh because they got a good football team. Hockey, I think.
Yeah.
And basketball. Well, Philly, right?
Yeah.
So, the situation is when you go to a Pirates game, you're going to that Pirates game to see the other team. I lived in Colorado for a long time and used to go to the Rockies games because they were so seasonally shit to see the other teams. You're like, oh, the Yankees are coming to Colorado? Let's go watch the Yankees play. I mean, fans like you wouldn't believe. There's like 4 purple hats in the stadium and the rest is all Yankee fans. It's awkward to be in the home stadium and the away team.
But I'm going to tell you a team that's going to turn things around. You might think that my Chargers are not going to be a force to be reckoned with, buddy. But here we go.
What makes them
Austin Eckler. Come on, baby. Justin Herbert. Huh? These names, they're going to ring. Trust.
He doesn't even know the new guy they got.
No, I don't.
He's a fan, though.
I gotta go back. Yeah. Come on.
Anyway.
Test me.
Don't test him. He'll fail miserably. But, so anyway, my whole point is that even cities are now susceptible to being victims. The whole point of this MLB lockout was they wanted to raise the salary cap so small market teams could get bigger name players. It has nothing to do with the salary cap. Nothing. Nobody wants to be on a good team that's a free agent, let's say, and then have the option between the Yankees, the Dodgers, I'll even throw the Angels in there because it's here. It's in Southern California. Or they can go to Pittsburgh for more money and not win. That's not fun because even, you're still playing a game, but you're still bored out of your fucking mind because you're just not winning. But then now Pittsburgh is a victim because they can't sign big name players. It has nothing to do. It has everything to do with your location.
So guys, we don't want you guys to get lost in the sauce. The point is, there's an aim. There's a marker, right? If the marker isn't hit, adjustments need to be made.
Yep.
Make them, right?
Mm-hmm.
If you see the need, if you have the need, if it burns inside you, if that passion is inside of you to hit a mark where you don't see a mark being hit, make the adjustment. Bottom line.
Powerful words by a powerful man. You just lost all.
Cheesy.
That was dumb.
Cheesy.
I wish we could rewind. Should we pause and go back?
No.
Should we edit it? Live edit?
Hey, no editing here, man. The shit I do is the shit I do. It happens.
Let me ask you a question. Have you been studying movies at all?
No. Because guess what? I will not play that game with you on camera until I beat you 10 times off camera.
So we're never going to play again?
Yeah, exactly.
We've decided. That was a wide turn about we're never going to play that game.
So we've decided to close our show out with a different segment.
Yes. And we're closing out a little early because these might get a little long. Especially especially with
these aren't that long.
Especially with Dances with the Breeze over here.
I mean, mine's is pretty short. It's pretty short, but anyway, you want to kick it off?
No, I would like to go last.
You like to go last? Real brief. I'm gonna go brief, right? So
wait. Time out. Every time you say that, it's never brief.
I've always been a fan and very curious of a family called the Rothschilds.
Wait, did we preface this at all, or are we just gonna go?
Oh, okay. So the segment we've decided to close out with, right, is conspiracy theories.
Ooh.
Right? So conspiracy theories that we've heard, and we can't really, prove them. We've brought no proof. I've brought no proof.
Me either.
Did you bring proof about you?
Nope.
So we brought no proof. But these are just conspiracy theories that we've
conspiracy
heard.
theories, I mean, is there really any actual proof, or is it just somebody's idea?
Especially not for the one I'm about to voice.
You're not gonna come with a new one? You told me this one already.
No. I'm gonna tell you. I told you that just in case you've heard it. Maybe you have some further insight.
I wish you had.
Do you have any further insight?
No.
Okay. Well, this is a here warning. I forewarn you. It's a 9/11 conspiracy theory. So there, one family I had always been curious about, and I had heard about, and I read one of their sanctioned biographies about the Rothschilds. There's a member of the Rothschild family. His name is Evelyn Rothschild. Anyway,
his name is Evelyn.
His name is Evelyn Rothschild. Anyway, reported to be one of the richest people on planet Earth. But one thing that the Rothschilds have always prided themselves in, they've always taken pride in their anonymity. They don't want to be, according to lore and legend. They never wanted to be included on any list of rich families, people, individuals, whatever. The conspiracy theory I heard was this guy, for whatever reason, and I'm not going to go into the reasoning, but he had known about 9/11 coming. And he purchased a suite or rented or leased, I'm not sure. He got himself into a suite prior to the 9/11 incident just to see the 9/11 incident happen in person.
Because?
Front row seats. Well, because his competitors were going to be in that building. Conspiracy theory. You guys make of it what you want. It's just a conspiracy theory. And this segment is about wild ass conspiracy theories that we've heard.
That is pretty crazy.
It's pretty wild, right? Anyway, that's mine. Brief, super short.
Wow.
Thank you very much.
4 minutes.
Was that impressive? Okay, impressive.
Impressive. So, to kind of piggyback on yours, no, not really. I was gonna bring up two, but I won't. I'll bring up one. I heard. So you remember the whole Mayan calendar?
Okay.
Countdown, end of the earth. So this guy said that he did preface it with, "This is a wild conspiracy theory, and it might just be so wild that it's just ridiculous to even think about." But what if, when was it the Mayan calendar or the Aztec calendar?
The Mayans.
The Mayans, the calendar 2012, right?
Right.
Yeah. So was May 7th, 2012?
Was it May 7th? I thought it was December 21st, 2012.
Maybe, whatever day it was.
Okay.
So on that day, his conspiracy theory is, what if the world did end and we all died simultaneously? And since time is relative, we're living out our memories, because memories can go from 7 seconds to 100 years. What if we're all just living out memories?
And we've already
And
died.
we're already all dead.
No,
Everybody on Earth is dead.
Guys.
And we're just living out. Crazy, right?
I'm impressed with the brief yet compelling
Yes. I, my friends, know how to be absolutely brief.
and very compelling.
It's
Wow.
pretty crazy, right?
I
Then when you
say
start, the
so.
more you think about it, you're like, huh. And then, because then he goes into like, this is why all of a sudden the Mandela effect or whatever, because people are seeing.
The butterfly effect?
No, it's Mandela or Mandala effect, something, one of those. I don't know.
Mandela.
Where it's like there's two symbols, right? And you know which one is right, but the other one's just off a little bit, and you don't know. And then you pick the one that's wrong, but the one that you're just like, what the fuck? Yeah, crazy. Memories, deja vu. That's why.
Okay.
And I've been getting these whole deja vu moments a lot lately. So now I'm like, man, shit.
I've been having some weird dreams.
Maybe in 2012, we all went to sleep, and that was it.
And you're not really seeing this right now. You're not watching this.
Yeah, this is not YouTube.
No.
This is a memory. This is 1912.
Okay. And with that.
So wait a minute. On yours,
Huh?
is that the strangest 9/11 conspiracy theory you heard?
It's absolutely the strangest, right? Because again, I've always been interested in this specific family.
Uh,
And this family, their dynasty began in the year 1790, right? And then so the idea that these people have an effect or a relevancy in today's
Their money
world,
lasted that long.
That long. Well, because so the dad, he was the father of 5 brothers, 5 boys, and then so he created this. There was bylaws.
What do they?
So
the money come from?
he began a private banking.
Ah,
So he was a lender. So he became a lender. He taught his sons about the banking business. So
scumbag.
fast forward, he created bylaws that had to be passed down from himself to his sons' kids, and blah blah blah. And one of the bylaws were this: the business of banking was to be run by the men of the family. Women in the family were only given dowries. So they were given a part of the fortune, but to be married off.
So was one of the stipulations on September 11th, 2001, you have to buy a suite? Was he that far ahead?
No. This had nothing to
It was
do
not
with
that far
this.
ahead.
Had nothing to do with any of that. This had to do with the sinister nature of this specific Rothschild individual. Great. So there have been members throughout history of this Rothschild family that have done some wild shit.
Really?
Like I've read their, and this is a sanction. There's like only 2 sanctioned biographies as far as I know. But these guys have like built these great homes in France and in Austria, these crazy like homes that, eventually were donated to charity, were donated to, to become museums, to become this or that. Like this Rothschild family is the business. These guys are like no joke. These guys were involved in the Napoleon.
Still around?
Well, yeah. So there's 2 key members. Well, so Evelyn Rothschild, I'm not sure where he is. I'm not sure if because he was pretty old back in 2001. But David Rothschild, he was a younger member. David Rothschild is still, he's probably like my age, or maybe just a little older. But he's in the spotlight. You can look him up.
So bottom line,
Mhm.
victim mentality is stupid.
Absolutely.
The Rothschilds are scumbags, and
I
and
think
we're all
I think
dead.
these guys are brilliant.
We're all dead.
I don't think Evelyn in that conspiracy theory story is brilliant, but I think these guys, what they did was brilliant to have money last through those.
What about the conspiracy
centuries.
theory that the building had explosives and it was detonated by
That
our
could
government?
possibly be.
Dude, don't get me started,
I mean, I've heard a lot.
bro. If you understand physics, don't you?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so if you drop a brick
Mm-hmm.
on the ground, right?
Right.
The dust comes out the side because of the weight and the dispersion of the dust. When you have 80,000 metric tons of material coming down upon floor, upon floor, upon floor, that's what does the little implosions on the side.
Mm-hmm.
So people who say there were explosive devices in the building,
I'm not gonna say there was or there wasn't.
I'm gonna
not
say there was not.
I don't know enough. I don't know enough about any of it.
The people that say the
it
planes
was
were
true or not true.
The people that say the planes were unmarked. Come on.
Again,
Come on.
I don't know anything about anything as far as that thing's concerned. Like I said, even this my little conspiracy theory story is just a story. I think it's pretty wild.
Do we go on record right now as what our next episode is going to be, or do we leave that up to chance?
We'll leave it up to chance. Because guess what? We're going to address things that are out there, right? So more popular. So we heard a lot of situations that brought up the idea that victimhood is a terrible idea. We thought it good to say, hey, the opposite of victimhood is to provide yourself an aim, right? And then if that aim isn't hit, you make adjustments to again aim at that target.
It
And
wasn't
you
Will
keep
Smith's
moving.
fault, guys.
It wasn't.
He's a victim.
It wasn't. Yeah, he was.
He's a victim of his mean,
Yeah.
stupid, mind controlling wife.
Sucker. Yeah.
God, she's a terrible human being.
I'm not gonna say that either. Oh, she's a terrible.
I will. She's a terrible. She's a narcissist, and she's the worst one on the face of the planet.
But hey, did you hear that little situation about Paul Rodriguez and his run-in with Ali Boumaier, Will Smith? Yeah, man. I thought, man, that made Will Smith.
Well, also
look like
to
a
be
straight
fair though, where was this when the movie came out?
Well, yeah. So, but right, maybe he was saying these things, but couldn't build that momentum that this Chris Rock situation has allowed.
Again, I think
Buddies of mine had made that same argument.
Well, I think everybody's.
I made your argument, and buddies of mine made the argument that I'm bringing up to you. Maybe he did say something, because I said the same thing. Well, why didn't he? Why was?
I just don't understand. It's just like Hugh Hefner died, and all these girls that he dated are like, oh, well, he was
Right. You saw that?
Why do you wait till the fucking guy's dead?
Hey, what about the situation with Don Cornelius, Soul Train guy?
What about him?
The story that one of the sisters, there were two sisters, who worked for the Playboy.
The twins.
I don't know if they were twins, but they were sisters. And then Don Cornelius tied them both up in their for 3 days and sodomized them for 3 days. I was like, yo, that's crazy.
So
anyway,
my whole point is, it's like, why?
I don't know.
Why didn't you say
I don't
anything
know.
then? It was illegal then. Now you
Men of power.
But now
I don't know what.
Don Cornelius was men of power. Then,
Soul Train,
bro,
Come
Soul
on.
Train, Soul Train was dead for 20 years when those girls were in the mansion.
What? No, this was in the 70s, bro.
Not
Not those twins. These were girls before, back in like 70s or 80s, I believe. Yeah. This was back in those days.
But again, still, it was illegal.
But again, these stories coming out about these powerful men.
They spent the money, though.
Right.
Checks.
Yeah.
Wasn't
We
that
don't know.
bad.
Listen. These are stories. There's things that happen. People who live out these situations, and then there's the narration of it.
Yeah.
We're just simply providing the narration of it.
Everybody's a victim. We're wrong. Everybody has a sob story.
We don't know, right? We just bring these things up so that we can all, lay these thoughts out, sort them out. Let's sort them out.
I'm not the most sympathetic individual. So.
And with that,
We're gone.
We're gone.